interview is in connection with the celebrations of the 87th birthday of Dr. Hammer as the World GNM Day on 17th May 2022, which is organized global GNM organization.
Hi, I'm Idan from Israel. I'm 72 years old. I'm practicing GNM for the last 13 years. I feel very happy for this opportunity, for this celebration, and feel very lucky to use this opportunity to share my great appreciation for the great work of Caroline Markolin, who taught me GNM, and mainly her great work of making the internet website, which including or contains so much important information and knowledge of the GNM. Thank you.
Idan, can you tell us how you became interested in health and therapy?
Okay. At the age about 29, I got some health problems, and this caused me to become interested in health and therapy, and I found some book about natural therapy, and it caught me, and I started to become more and more interested. I was tested in conventional medicine, many kinds of tests. They found something in my liver and a certain problem in my heart, which was mitral valve prolapse. And this caused to ground me from flight. I was, before it, pilot in the Israeli Air Force as a fighter pilot, and after that I was also a pilot in a small airline, Israeli airline, and was grounded, and then started or continue to look for more solution in natural healing.
How did you find the GNM?
I continue to search and learn different methods of natural medicine, but practice it very partially. Every time when I was treating a new kind of medical problem new for me, which I try to understand what caused it, I was rushing after the treatment to the internet, trying to find what really caused it, and didn't find. Tried few methods. In each one there is a very interesting logic, but no one gave me a kind of answer solution that I was settled with or clear with. And on 2005, I found in the internet an interesting table which appeared in a certain forum. It didn't mention where it come from. And in that table was list of 20 kind of medical problems, and in front of each one there was listed the conflict that caused that problem, which was for me completely new and very attractive and very interesting. Then I tried to find where it came from and found that there was something which was called a new medicine. and looked for it, and found that it was possible then to learn it in English only in Canada. And only on 2007 I managed to go to Canada to learn first seminars of Caroline Markolin then, and completed it, the other seminars on 2008. After that, I participated in some of practitioner workshops that Caroline held in Austria, and it was very helpful as well. I think it's important to say that for me and for many other participants, just beginning, actually from the first meeting in a seminar, many things fall as something clear. Things become very logical and very clear of what is causing problems, what is causing disease, etc.
Can you tell me about serious health problem that you have recovered from without treatments of the conventional medicine?
Yes. On January 2009, which was just a few months after I finished the seminars with Caroline Markolin, one day I felt very, very weak, almost blackout, couldn't stand. I had to lie down. Someone took me home. I couldn't by myself, and was hesitating if to go to hospital, because I had already basic knowledge of the GNM. But after feeling a bit stronger, and after thinking about it quite deeply, I decided to go to hospital just in order to be sure, and also for my family, for friends. In the hospital, they found it was left myocardial heart attack, and I was put in the ICU, heart ICU, intensive care unit. They have in the hospital protocol that every few hours a nurse is coming with some drugs. So I was waiting that the nurse will go out, and was throwing to the garbage the drugs, because I know it doesn't help, it only can disturb. Another strong hesitation that I had there was for catheterization, which there was a strong pressure from the doctor. Some doctors are coming to you and pressing you to sign for making it, and I refused. And after 3 days, there weren't any more symptoms of the heart problem, and I was released, but was still very weak for 2 months. Didn't do any medical, conventional medical treatment, and became stronger and stronger during a few months, and came to normal. For insurance reason, I had to do tests, and after 7 years, I was checked for the carotid and also heart echo, and they didn't find anything. what was the cause? It was in a certain, took part in a public discussion which was very, very intense, and after I did what I thought was correct to do, I got feeling quite very strong and a bit terrible sense of wave of hate and criticism. I didn't think it's a conflict. I didn't think it's too terrible. But about 4 months after that came the heart attack. So it was a kind of too much negative stress which my systems couldn't help. And that's what caused the stress, the attack. And for myself, the main conclusion or main decision I had is to take less thing into my heart. Now, on 2020, it happened again in a very surprising way. Actually, I went to the post office a few minutes from my home, very light and not difficult walking. And in the post office, I felt very, very weak, couldn't stand, had to sit down. And a few minutes after that, I found myself on the floor, someone picking up my legs, someone bringing water to drink. I asked if I lost my consciousness. They say yes. But I didn't feel any fear, and I was very determined to send the package that I had to send in the post office. So I went to send it without any hesitating, without asking any further help. Walk by myself home, which was much more difficult because I felt very weak. But it was June 2020, so in the middle of the corona crisis, I didn't want to even tell any medical authority that I need help. And the only thing I asked are some friends that I have that they did healing from distance to me, 4 friends, and felt much better in a very short time. Already 2 days after the attack, I did already a lesson in one of the courses that I had then, and came quite fast back to normal.
I know that most of the treatment you are doing together with another person. Can you tell about it?
Yes. On 2012, about 10 years ago, I had a patient with ependymoma, which I didn't know what caused it. And there was information about it in the publications of the GNM. And when I got out from the clinic, I met a friend called Ofer Sadeh, and we started to speak about many things. And I knew that Ofer can see auras of people, auras, the electromagnetic fields around a person. So I asked him if he can come to the next session with that patient to try to help me to find out what caused his ependymoma. And he agreed. At that session he came, he couldn't find exactly what was the cause, but he was hooked to the combination of treating together. Although he wasn't practitioner and he didn't use his abilities till then, but from that moment he didn't miss any treatment together. So for 10 years we are doing, in most cases, treatment together. Sometimes I have treatments alone, and also more and more there are people who are coming only for him. And the way we are working together are developing all the time, mainly because of the abilities of authors which are developing. In the beginning, he could see things but wasn't sure what he sees. Now he has a map that was created to him of the aura of people, and he can see much more accurately what happening to that person. So the way we are working together now is as follows. About 15-20 minutes before the patient is coming to the clinic, Ofer and myself are sitting there already. I have some information from the patient that I ask him, but Ofer doesn't know anything about the patient, except his or her first name and the first name of the patient's mother. I just say the name, and Ofer is starting to say a few things he sees in the patient's aura, although the patient is not there. And after that, I'm starting to asking Ofer question about the patient's health. Mainly, the questions are mainly according to the GNM understanding. What was the conflict? What are the triggers or one trigger that are preventing the patient from natural healing, to complete the healing? What can be done, what can help the patient, and so on. Then the patient is coming, I read to him everything that rose up during the connection session with Ofer, and together with the patient we are trying to find out what was a conflict, or conflict if there are few conflicts, what are the triggers, and what can be done. What happened in the last 2 years because of the corona, it became more and more attractive to do sessions, to do treatments from distance, and actually we're doing the same process from distance.
Can you tell about some cases that you helped the patients?
Yes, I will tell a few cases. First one was about condyloma. A lady about 40 years old came to us specifically with condyloma. She wasn't married. She at long last found a man which wanted to marry her. But after a short time, she wasn't really trusting him. She found that he is not trustable, and it took, I think, few weeks where she had don't trust conflict. Try to overcome it. Actually, it was solved, at least partially, or at least temporarily, and the condyloma grew up. And we explained her everything about condyloma, what is causing it. We spoke a lot about her relation with that man, and she came for 2 treatments only, and about 3 weeks after that, the condyloma fell down and disappeared. What is interesting that much later, 2 other ladies that came for treatment for other things, but they mentioned that they have also condyloma. We didn't focus on it, but we explained both of them the causing, the conflict, what is causing it, and both of them, each one completely without knowing the other, about each one after 3 weeks, wrote us that the condylomas fell down and disappeared, which was very interesting. Another story is about a lady, 45 years old, who was diagnosed with MS, multiple sclerosis. She wasn't my patient. She was treated by a practitioner who worked with the Paula method. And she continued to look for any way, any possibility to help her, to help herself. And she found in the internet something that's called new medicine, and she found myself. She invited me to her home once, and I explained her, gave her any knowledge, understandings, and experience that I had to do with multiple sclerosis. And after that, she continued the treatment with other practitioner, but she consulted me for more than almost about 2 years by phone, by email, and after about 2 years, she sent me a message. I did another MRI test, and everything is clear. I feel okay, and actually she improved a lot during that 2 years. Her story is quite terrible, the original. At the age of about 10 years old, her father abused her sexually, and also some children from school. She repressed it completely. She didn't remember anything until 45 years old, when she had an issue, a case with a man. And this case was actually kind of track or trigger that activated the conflict from the childhood. She was diagnosed with MS, started the treatment with that practitioner, and only during the treatment she remembered what happened at the age of 10. She didn't remember it completely until then. And she did everything she could, including the treatment with Paula method, nutrition, GNM understanding, and any other thing that she could find. And the end was very nice. So it was very nice to consult her and to hear the last message. Next story is about a lady, 50 years old, who was diagnosed with cervix cancer. In the beginning it was pre-cancer. When she came to us, she said that she's afraid, she can't be sure, or she can't base or trust only GNM or only alternative medicine, and she wants to go parallelly with a conventional medicine. We explained her everything about cervix cancer. We told her that her symptoms are of the healing phase, and we recommend her, if she feel okay, to delay a bit the surgery date that it was planned for her. And as long as we continued, she delayed a bit more and a bit more the surgery. She came to us for 4 treatments, 4 meetings, and after about 2 months, she sent us a message, everything is clean, there is no need for the surgery. And now her story was that she lived with a husband that she actually couldn't bear, suffered very much with him, but she couldn't leave him for certain family reasons, and she left him only after about 18 years of living together, and only then the healing phase started, or the conflict was solved. And the conflict was sexual frustration, continual sexual frustration, and many other frustrations, but this was the main one. And what she told us, in order to show us that we will understand her frustration, was that only once during those years she dared to ask her husband if he can help her to come to orgasm. And his answer was, your orgasm is your problem. Anyhow, after she left him, actually she felt free from him, and the healing phase started with a symptom. And during the time of healing, she did a lot of work, emotional, practical. She learned the GNM, she learned other methods, and she continued to do work since then, for many years already. She became practitioner, and actually it was very impressive to see the work that she is doing. The story now is about a man who had tinnitus. I got a phone call from a friend of him. She knew my phone number, we have never met. She asked me if I can help him somehow with his tinnitus. And he couldn't speak to me, couldn't come, so I told her the only thing I think about it maybe will help him is that he will hear the therapeutic music that Dr. Hammer recommended, and to do it according to Hammer recommendations. Sent him the music, and that's all. A few days after that, I got a phone call from her. There is no tinnitus, disappeared. So it was very nice and good to mention. The next story is about milk duct breast cancer of Yaara Kaizer. She will tell the story she's telling in this celebration, the story much better than I do, with all the details. I'm bringing this point only to show one thing which was very salient for me, the difference between a patient who understands all the explanation, believe in it, believe in himself, in this case in herself, has hope and believe and feel that he is strong enough to do the work, between another patient who hesitating, who is not sure, not fully trust himself, not believing enough and so on, where such a patient who is not fully trusting in himself and the way and the method need much more support, care, explanation, believing, kind of more support and so on. So just to show this point. The next story is about a lady, 37 years old, who had arthritis. Then arthritis was for already 10 years, and she used medicine, hard medicine, including steroids. She had one child, and she wanted, after about 10 years, she wanted another child. And she understood that she must heal. She can't get pregnant with such medicines. And I explained her the GNM understanding, knowledge, experience. She is a very intelligent lady, doctor by herself. And I told her, look, I'm not doctor. I can't tell you stop medicine. But if you're stopping, as much as I know, it is recommended not to stop steroids immediately at once, but gradually. And I told her and gave her a lot of recommendations. She took all the recommendation and changed her life in one go, immediately everything. Changed her diet, did a lot of spiritual and emotional work, and stopped immediately all the medicines, and felt gradually better and better. I explained her also the possibility of healing crisis, and about a month later, in the middle of the night, she was sleeping near her husband, felt terrible pain all over the body, and she tried to tell her husband to order ambulance. She couldn't turn over and she couldn't speak to him, so she just fell asleep again. Woke up in the morning and she had to convince herself that it was real and not just a dream, because she felt quite good in the morning. Then, about a week later, another healing crisis appeared. This was in the morning. Before going to work, she went to the shower. And in the shower, she felt the symptoms. She managed to call her husband. Her husband took her from the shower to bed. She fell asleep again. Slept until the afternoon, something that she couldn't remember that happened to her for years. And in the afternoon, she woke up and felt quite good. Basically, she was healed almost completely, got pregnant, and gave birth with a very nice boy. But during the days she was in the hospital, when the women are very, very sensitive, someone said something which was a track that actually activated all the conflict again, and she had to struggle against it for years after that, and there was a certain complication to do with surgery which didn't succeed enough, and she's still suffering, but also she did a lot of inner progression, personal development, and so on. Next story is about a man, 40 years old, who had ulcerative colitis. Actually, he understood very good all the explanation in the first meeting. Then 2 weeks after that, we did another treatment, and a few weeks later, he came for the third treatment just to be sure that everything is okay, because he felt excellent. Actually, luckily enough for him, he came to us, found us about 2 months after he was diagnosed. He started to take medicine Rafasal, but he didn't take yet the steroids, so it was easier to do the healing work. And the story was that this man is the owner and manager of a small company, very successful, and he could allow himself to buy 2 very expensive cars, which he ordered from Europe, one for himself, one for his wife. Few weeks after that, after he got the cars, came to his home, surprisingly, without any previous notice, policeman, blaming him that he belonged to a net of people who steal cars in Europe and selling it to anywhere, which he wasn't. He didn't know anything about it. He just looked for cars, found this offer, and this what happened. He didn't know that it was stolen cars. Obviously, he managed to overcome the conflict. And then came the symptoms of the healing phase, which are partially the ulcerative colitis. The conflict himself for him was just his image, his honor, because he is a known and honorable man in the community he's part of. And it was almost indigestible for him to get this blame, which is actually damaging his image, his honor. So he understood that everything or the main thing that he should do is not to let drugs to influence him. And actually for more than 6 or 7 years he was completely clean of the ulcerative colitis.
Can you share with us some understanding that you think are important?
Yes. At least most of the understanding, I think most of the GNM practitioners know and has the same understanding, but for the general public and sometimes also it's a good reminder for us practitioners. So the first one is to understand and to remember always that what caused the kind of conflict is not necessarily what happened objectively, but how the person experienced it subjectively. Another understanding that is not coming directly from the GNM, but I got it immediately after I started to learn the GNM, is that real preventive medicine is personal development. The GNM actually calls us, even if we don't mean to it, to do personal development in order to understand conflict, to understand the body system and so on. When we do personal development, first it can many times help us to prevent completely some kinds of conflicts. But also, even if we don't preventing or don't solving completely conflicts or don't preventing triggers or drugs, when we are doing personal development, it helps us to recover faster for any conflict that we are experiencing. Another understanding, which I think most of the GNM practitioners are meeting, is Dr. Hammer actually based most of the treatment on the knowledge, understanding, and awareness to the conflict and all the meaning of the symptoms, understanding of the symptoms. Personally, and I know that many other practitioners met the situation that for many patients, just knowledge, understanding, and awareness is not enough. They need more help, more kind of giving strength, giving hope, giving belief in the work, and actually needing more tools. And the more tools each practitioner can give and doing naturally according to what he learned, what he experienced, what he knows to help. And it is important in many cases to have more tools, whether it healing, homeopathy, sujuk, theta healing, and magnetotherapy, nutrition, and so on. Everything can help, and it's help if we, the practitioners, know and find out what kind of tools or other methods are more effective for any specific patients. One of my conclusions and realization is that it is very much recommended to tell any patient or to recommend any patient to use the therapy music that Hammer was recommended according to his recommending, because in many or most cases it can help. Another understanding that the key for health is that person will be connected to himself. As much as person is more connected to himself, more himself, he has better chance to have good life or health. As more a person is doing things which are different to what he believes, what he thinks, and doing it because of his education, pressure from his parents, from his boss, from his teacher, and so on, he might become more distant from himself, and then there are more inner contradictions. Inner contradictions are making conflicts or causing health problems. And just to finish with completely different note, which is maybe my own wild thinking, but I think it may be interesting for some to hear it. The GNM showed us how health is working and the direct connection between the soul and the physical, the body. But we see, and also Dr. Hammer showed it, that actually all the biological programs that we know now are very old. And we are, according to what I understand and see and think, that we are in an epoch of very, very fast change and dramatic changes in all aspects of life in the planet. And personally, what I believe that part of the big change will be that we will have a completely different biological programs as part of the change. I don't know when it will happen. Can take time. I don't know. No one knows exactly. But I'm saying it because I think that GNM show and help us, help humanity to be ready or to understand the connection between soul and body, and thus the change to completely different biological programs will be easier to do. Thank you.